Morning of my wedding should have been the happiest day of my life, everyone around me was smiling. My friends were laughing. My mother could not stop crying because she was so proud. Every gift on the table looked expensive. There were diamond necklaces, luxury watches, designer bags, and envelopes filled with money. Everyone wanted to impress us. Then my father quietly walked toward me carrying an old wooden box. It was small, it looked worn out, the corners were scratched, the lock was rusty. Some guests even whispered that it looked like something pulled out of an attic. My father placed it in my hands and smiled. He looked into my eyes and said, "This is the only wedding gift I want. You to keep forever. Never open it unless life forces you to." I waited for him to laugh. I thought it was another one of his strange jokes, but he stayed serious. My husband looked confused. My relatives exchanged awkward smiles. My aunt whispered, "Is this really all he brought?" For his own daughter, I felt my face burn with embarrassment. I wanted to hide that box under the table. I had imagined my father giving me something beautiful, something unforgettable. Instead, he gave me something everyone laughed at. The ceremony continued, but I could not stop thinking about that old box. Every photo, I smiled and felt fake, because every time I looked at my father, he simply nodded, as if he knew something I did not. After the wedding, my husband asked me if I wanted to open it. I remembered my father's words and shook my head. No matter how curious I felt, I could not break the promise. I placed the box inside our bedroom closet, thinking I would forget about it in a few days. I had no idea that old wooden box would become the reason I cried almost every single day for the next 5 years. And I had absolutely no idea what my father had hidden inside it that would change my entire life forever. The first few weeks of marriage were beautiful. We moved into a small house and slowly started building our new life. Together we laughed, we dreamed, we planned our future. But every time I cleaned the bedroom, my eyes stopped on that old wooden box. It looked so ordinary, yet it felt strangely heavy. My husband smiled and asked the same question almost every week. "Are you sure you do not want to open it?" I always gave him the same answer my father made me promise. One evening, my mother called me. Her voice sounded different. She asked if I had opened the gift. I said no. She became silent for a moment, then she softly said, "Whatever happens, never break your father's promise." Those words made my heart beat faster. Before I could ask anything, she changed the subject and ended the call. Months passed, then something unexpected happened. My father stopped answering my calls. At first, I thought he was just busy. But after several days, my uncle called with terrible news. My father had suffered a serious heart attack. I rushed to the hospital. The moment I entered his room, he reached for my hand. His face was pale, but his eyes were calm. I wanted to ask him about the wooden box. I wanted to know why it mattered so much. But before I could speak, he whispered, "Remember your promise. The day you truly need that gift, you will know." Then he smiled, closed his eyes, and never spoke another word. I stood there completely broken. At his funeral, everyone talked about what a kind man he had been. But one conversation caught my attention. Two distant relatives quietly said he took that secret to his grave. They looked at me and immediately stopped talking. I wanted to ask what they meant, but they walked away before leaving the cemetery. An elderly lawyer I had never seen before came close to me. He handed me a sealed envelope and said, "Your father asked me to give you this only after his funeral." My hands shook as I looked at the envelope. Across the front were just 7 words, written in my father's handwriting. "Do not open the box yet. Wait for the sign."
For weeks, I carried that envelope everywhere, but I never opened the wooden box. My father's final words echoed in my mind. "Wait for the sign." I kept asking myself what sign he was talking about. Life slowly returned to normal, or at least that is what I wanted to believe. Then one afternoon, my husband came home looking worried. He had lost his job. Without warning, our only steady income disappeared. We smiled in front of each other, pretending everything would be fine. But every night I cried after he fell asleep. Our savings disappeared. Month after month, bills started piling up. We sold jewelry. We canceled every luxury we even thought about selling our little house. More than once, I stood in front of the closet holding the wooden box. My hands reached for the lock every single time, but my father's voice stopped me. "Never open it unless life forces you to." One rainy evening, I received another unexpected phone call. It was the same lawyer who had spoken to me. After the funeral, he asked only one question: "Has the sign appeared yet?" I told him I did not know what he meant. He quietly replied, "When your heart tells you there is no other way left, you will understand." Then he ended the call without another word. That night, I could not sleep. I looked outside the window, watching the rain fall. So husband was asleep beside me, exhausted from another day of searching For work, I quietly walked to the closet, picked up the old wooden box, and placed it on the table. I stared at it for almost an hour. My fingers rested on the rusty lock, but I still could not break my promise. Just before sunrise, someone knocked loudly on our front door. I opened it and found a plain envelope with no name and no return address. Inside was only one photograph. It was a picture of me on my wedding day, holding the wooden box in the corner. Someone had written 6 chilling words in black ink. "It is finally time, open it tonight." My heart nearly stopped, because I knew only one person who could have written those words, and he had been buried 3 months earlier.
That entire day I could not think about anything except the photograph. Someone had taken it on my wedding day without my knowledge. Someone had kept it for years, and somehow it arrived the exact night the message told me to open the box. My husband looked at my frightened face and quietly asked what happened. I handed him the photograph. He stared at it for a long moment before looking back at me. "Maybe your father knew this day would come. Maybe this is the sign." I slowly nodded, because deep inside, I felt the same thing as midnight arrived. I placed the old wooden box on the dining table. My hands were trembling so badly that I could barely hold the tiny key hidden beneath the box. The rusty lock clicked open after 5 long years. I closed my eyes for a moment, then slowly lifted the lid. Inside, there was no money, no gold, no jewelry. There was only a small velvet pouch, an old cassette, tape, a handwritten letter, and a silver pocket watch that had stopped at exactly 7:23. I unfolded the letter with tears already filling my eyes. The first sentence made my heart stop. "Your greatest inheritance is not inside this box, it is hidden. Because someone in this family has been waiting for this moment for years." My breathing became heavy. Continued reading. "If you are opening this box, then life has already become difficult. That means the person I feared has finally made their move. Do not tell anyone what you found. Not even the people you trust." The most my husband looked at me in complete confusion. I could not understand why my father would write something like that. Then I picked up the cassette tape. There was no player in our house, but before I could say anything, my husband quietly walked to the garage. A few minutes later, he returned holding an old cassette player that had belonged to his grandfather. We looked at each other without speaking. I slowly pressed the play button. Static filled the room for several seconds. Then I heard my father's voice. "My dear daughter, if you are listening to this, I am already gone, and the person sitting closest to you right now may not be who you think they are." My entire body froze as I slowly turned toward my husband, who was staring at the cassette player with the same terrified expression as mine. My husband looked at me with fear in his eyes and slowly stepped away from the table. I could barely breathe. My father's voice continued through the old cassette. "If your husband is standing beside you, do not panic. He is not the person I warned you about. He simply does not know the truth." My husband closed his eyes with relief while I held the player with trembling hands. Then my father spoke again. "The real danger is someone who has smiled beside our family for many years, someone who attended your wedding, someone who hugged you before you walked down the aisle, someone who has been waiting for this box to open." Silence filled the room. My mind raced through every face I remembered. From that day, my mother, my uncle, my aunt, my cousins, my closest family friends. Every memory suddenly felt different. My father continued. "I placed a silver pocket watch inside this box because it is not an ordinary watch. Look closely at the time. It stopped the exact minute I discovered the truth." I picked up the watch again. 7:23, I whispered the number again, trying to understand what it meant. Then I noticed something strange on the back of the watch. Tiny letters were engraved. "Lift the glass." My fingers carefully pressed the edge of the watch, and a hidden compartment quietly opened. Inside was a tiny, folded piece of paper. I unfolded it, and my heart almost stopped. It contained an address and only one sentence: "Go there. Before anyone discovers this box." My husband immediately recognized the address. It was an abandoned train station almost 2 hours away. We had never been there before we could decide what to do. Someone suddenly knocked on the front door. 3 slow knocks, then complete silence. My husband looked through the window. There was nobody outside. He carefully opened the door. On the welcome mat lay another envelope. Inside was a single photograph taken only hours earlier. It showed our house, our front door, and me standing in the window, holding my father's wooden box. Across the bottom, someone had written 5 terrifying words: "I know you. Opened it tonight, everything changes." My hands became cold because whoever was watching us had been standing outside our house only minutes before, and they were still somewhere in the darkness waiting for us to make our next move.
Neither of us slept that night. We packed the wooden box, the cassette, the letter, and the pocket watch into a backpack and left before sunrise, hoping whoever had been watching us would think we were still inside the house. The road to the abandoned train station was empty and silent. Every passing car made my heart race. My husband kept checking the mirror because he felt someone was following us, but every time he slowed down, the black sedan behind us disappeared. We finally reached the old station just after 8 in the morning. The building looked forgotten. Broken windows, rusted tracks, dead leaves covering every corner. It felt as though time itself had stopped. There I took out the small piece of paper hidden inside the watch and read the address again. It matched perfectly. As we walked deeper into the station, I noticed a row of old storage lockers. Most were damaged, except one locker, number 73. It still had a lock hanging from the lock was a tiny silver key, exactly like the one inside the wooden box. My hands shook as I unlocked it. Inside was another envelope, a small leather journal, and a bank deposit key. My father's handwriting covered the first page of the journal. If you have reached this place, then someone is already searching for you. Trust no one until you finish reading. Everything tears-filled my eyes as I turned the pages. Father had secretly documented every strange event that happened during the last 10 years. Every meeting, every phone call, every person he suspected. Then one page stopped me completely. It contained a photograph of the person my father feared the most. I stared at the picture for several seconds. My breathing became heavy. I knew that face. It was someone I loved, someone I had trusted my entire life. Before I could show the photograph to my husband, a loud crash echoed through the station. The locker door slammed shut by itself. Footsteps began moving across the empty platform. Slow, calm, deliberate. Someone had followed us all the way there. Then a familiar voice echoed through the station. You should have left the box closed, Emma, because now there is no turning back.
The voice echoed through the empty station, and my heart nearly stopped. I slowly turned around, expecting to see a stranger, but instead I saw my own uncle standing near the broken platform with a calm smile on his face. He looked exactly the same as he had on my wedding day, warm, friendly, trustworthy. Yet something in his eyes felt completely different. My husband stepped in front of me, but my uncle raised both hands and quietly laughed. There is no need to be afraid. I only came for what belongs to me. I tightened my grip on the wooden box and asked, "What are you talking about?" He looked directly at the box and replied, "Your father should have destroyed it years ago. Instead, he left you with problems you were never supposed to solve." My heart began racing. I pulled the photograph from the journal and held it in front of him. His smile disappeared because the photograph showed him secretly meeting another man outside my father's office late one night. My voice trembled as I asked, "Were you the one Dad was hiding from?" He remained silent for several seconds. Then he slowly nodded. "I warned your father that curiosity would destroy this family." He refused to listen. My husband shouted, "Stay away from us." But my uncle ignored him. He calmly reached into his pocket and placed a folded document on an old bench. "Open it," he said. I looked inside and my knees almost gave out. It was the original ownership certificate for a company worth millions. My name was written across the top. My father had legally transferred everything to me years before my wedding, but the transfer had never been completed because someone had stolen the final approval papers. My uncle smiled again. "Your father believed money would protect you. He was wrong. It only made you the next target." Before I could answer, several black vehicles surrounded the station. Men in dark suits stepped out and slowly walked toward us. My uncle quietly whispered, "They finally found you." I looked around in panic. There were two. Many of them. My husband grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the old railway tunnel. We started running as footsteps thundered behind us. Then one of the men shouted, "Stop her. She still does not know who ordered her father's death." My entire body froze because that meant the real mastermind was still hiding somewhere much closer than I had ever imagined. I slowly walked toward my mother while holding the wooden box tightly against my chest. She looked older than I remembered, as though years of guilt had stolen every smile from her face. Without saying another word, she placed the small envelope into my hands and whispered, "Everything your father did was for this moment." I opened the envelope and found a folded marriage certificate. At first it looked ordinary. Then I noticed another page attached behind it. It was a legal document signed by my father on the morning of my wedding. My hands began trembling as I read the first sentence: "On the day of my daughter's marriage, every property, every investment, every company share, and every hidden account shall legally transfer to her, only if she remains married for 5 full years." Without opening the wedding gift, my eyes filled with tears. 5 years, I whispered. My mother nodded slowly. "That is why he made you promise. If you had opened the box before today, the agreement would have become invalid and everything would have gone to the people trying to steal your future, I could barely breathe. Every day I cried because I believed my father had given me a worthless gift, yet that old wooden box had silently protected my entire life. My mother fell to her knees crying. I should have told you years ago, but your father made me swear that if anyone discovered the truth before the 5th anniversary, they would come after you. My husband gently placed his hand on my shoulder. We both understood why my father had smiled on our wedding day. He was not giving me a box, he was giving me time. Suddenly, the church doors burst open. Several police officers rushed inside, followed by the detective who had been investigating my father's death. He looked directly at me and said, "Emma, we arrested your uncle this morning." Before being taken away, he confessed everything. "But there is one person you still need to face." My heart started racing. The detective slowly stepped aside. A man wearing handcuffs walked into the church. I stared at his face in complete shock. It was the lawyer who had attended my wedding, the same man who had handled my father's documents. For years, he lowered his head and quietly said, "I forged the papers. I helped hide the truth because I was paid to do it." Tears rolled down my face as I realized the person my father trusted with his future had betrayed him from the very beginning. The greatest secret of the wooden box had finally been revealed. But one final letter from my father was still waiting, inside untouched, and my mother whispered, "Read it only when you are ready to stop crying and start smiling again." I held the final letter in my hands for several minutes, because I was afraid that after reading the last words from my father, there would be nothing left to hold on to. My mother gently smiled through her tears and quietly nodded. I slowly unfolded the paper. My father's familiar handwriting immediately filled my eyes with tears. "My dearest daughter, if you are reading this, then you finally discovered why I gave you an old wooden box instead of diamonds or money on your wedding day. Everyone believed I had embarrassed you, but I was actually protecting the greatest gift I could ever leave behind. I wanted you to build a marriage based on love, patience, loyalty, and trust, instead of wealth, because only after 5 years would you truly know whether the people around you loved you for your heart or for your money. That is why I asked you to wait. Those 5 years were never your punishment. They were your protection." Tears rolled down my face as every painful memory suddenly made sense. Every day I had cried because I thought my father had forgotten me, yet every single day he had been protecting my future from beyond the grave. I continued reading. "If one day you discover the truth, then promise me one thing: never waste your life hating the people who betrayed you. Their punishment will come from their own choices. Your victory is not becoming richer. Your victory is becoming kinder than they ever were." I could no longer hold back my tears. I hugged the old wooden box against my chest and whispered, "Thank you." That my husband wrapped his arms around me and quietly said, "Your father gave you the most valuable wedding gift anyone could ever receive. Not money, not property, but a future no one could steal." Several months later, every legal document was finally transferred into my name. The company my father had protected for years officially became mine. I restored it in his honor and created a foundation that helped young couples who were struggling to begin their lives together, because I wanted every wedding to begin with hope instead of fear. My uncle and the corrupt lawyer were sentenced for their crimes, and every stolen asset was recovered. My mother spent the rest of her life asking forgiveness and slowly rebuilding the family she had almost lost. On the anniversary of my wedding, I returned to my father's grave carrying the same old wooden box. I placed fresh flowers beside him, smiled through my tears, and softly whispered, "Everyone laughed at your gift, Dad, but today I finally understand why I cried during the day and why I smile every night, because inside that old wooden box you never hid money, you hid your love, and that became the greatest inheritance of my entire life."